One of the many nicknames of Budapest is the Pearl of the Danube. And it's not surprising, because the city and the river complement each other so much, and understandably, one of the most popular activities among visitors of Budapest is taking a river cruise. But since there are so many different kinds of cruises, at different price range, different services offered, and different gimmicks, one of the most popular questions we get is which river cruise is the best. So in today's video, we're gonna ride quite a lot of river cruises, so that in the end, you will know which river cruise is the best for you. So the first river cruise that we're gonna show you is one of the most basic ones and also one of the cheaper ones. So let's show you what the absolute average river cruise looks like.
The PurpleLiner cruise starts from the docks located at Batthyány Square on the Buda side of the city, and the approximately 1 hour long route goes north first, then takes you south, passing the Petőfi Bridge before heading back to its starting point, and the daytime ticket costs around 5,000 Hungarian forints. The boat has a large capacity and plenty of space for everyone, and although we were lucky with a cruise that wasn't packed with people, I'm wondering how well you can see the sights if you need to sit in the middle section when the boat is at full capacity. Nevertheless, the chairs were relatively comfortable, and the tour starts out strong as we first pass the jewel of the Danube riverbanks, the Hungarian Parliament building. It's a simple and comfortable ride, where you can get some drinks for an additional charge, and for those who are interested in history and stories about the sites along the route, there are some TVs that display information, but unfortunately the screens aren't bright enough, so it's kind of difficult to see. And you can also download an app to your phone, but then you need to have your own headphones with you as well. The information presented was fairly basic, but at least it's there as an option, even if I'm not a huge fan of having to use my own phone for this. However, in the end, the price is reasonable, the tour is simple, but the route covers most of the important attractions along the river, and doesn't matter which side you sit, you'll definitely get a good view of everything along the route. Maybe except if you are sitting in the middle, but then you can just stand up and walk to one of the windows and enjoy the sights that way.
Now, there are many people visiting Budapest every year, and approximately 500,000, 500,000 people take a river cruise each year. So that means there's quite a lot of different operators, and today we are technically only scratching the surface. It was even an overwhelming experience for us to select these ones, but hopefully by the end of this video you'll have a complete picture of what awaits you here when you want to take a river cruise. So the next cruise we are taking is special because of the boat. It is a renovated old steamboat. So it's gonna be a classical feeling as we go along the river Danube and enjoy the nice sights. Let's take the Kisfaludy boat.
The Kisfaludy steamboat docks right next to Elizabeth Bridge, and it first goes south, passing the Liberty Bridge, before heading back up north to the Parliament building, and then returning to its starting position. The ticket for our early afternoon cruise was around 8,500 Hungarian forints. The tickets include one welcome drink, which has a frizzante from Tokaj as an option, a perfect start to an elegant and historic ride. The original Kisfaludy steamboat was the first of its kind that was in operation on Lake Balaton in Hungary in the 1800s. The original ship was decommissioned and destroyed, but in the 2010s they have rebuilt the ship as a modern vehicle, but keeping the classical aesthetics of the original. This also means that the chairs and benches are also kind of old school and may not be comfortable for everyone. But there are also some modern elements, like ordering additional drinks via a QR code, which is then brought by the friendly staff to your table. Even if we couldn't sit right on the side of the boat, since it's not that wide, we always had a good view, even as we sat in the middle section. But if you want to take some photos according to your liking, you can stand up and explore this classical boat. And part of the fun is to indeed explore the boat a bit, because besides the lovely views of Budapest, you can also admire the level of detail of the boat that surrounds you. There is also a separate QR code available to access an online tour guide on your phone, but we did not check that out as the ride on its own was already very enjoyable, thanks to this classical setting.
Now, another popular question that we usually get is, do you need to book ahead for any of these rides? And the reality is that it will always depend on the time you wish to take a river cruise, because the very popular hours like sunset or the nighttime when the buildings are all illuminated, those will likely sell out. We had to book tickets about 4 days before doing this shoot. And the thing is that our options for some of the late night ones were limited. So if you're thinking about taking a boat ride during one of these popular times, then likely it's best to plan ahead and book your tickets online. But if you just want to take a casual ride during the midday or early afternoon, likely you'll be able to easily get tickets for those. And right now we are on our next cruise, which is technically the cheapest. You guys have been asking about the existence of the so-called public transport company ships, and apparently they exist. This is one of them. Slightly different than several years ago, but still a really cheap one. So let's take this cruise and tell you what it is like.
The BKV boat, which is operated by one of the companies behind public transport, works as a hop-on, hop-off service. It has 5 stops and keeps going in a loop along the River Danube, all the way from Margaret Island down to Elizabeth Bridge for the price of 2,800 Hungarian forints. The boat is fairly simple, with wooden benches that may not be the most comfortable if you want to sit back and relax, but for this price there will always be some sort of a small drawback. The route itself is one of the shortest ones, as it doesn't go past Elizabeth Bridge, meaning you won't get to see the vibrant green Liberty Bridge if you take this cruise. And the hop-on hop-off system means the boat regularly stops, which kind of impacts the overall rhythm of the ride, but from a different perspective, within the operating hours from 1 o'clock till about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, you can jump off at any stop, explore for a bit, maybe grab some drinks or food, and then hop back on and continue your cruise along the Danube. In the end, you can get some nice views from this boat of the Parliament building, the Matthias Church, the Chain Bridge and the Castle Palace. And for the price of 2,800 Hungarian forints, that's a pretty good value.
Now in this video we may show you guys the prices of the exact cruises that we took, but bear in mind that these are only for references, because even within the same operator you may get different prices depending on the season. If it's winter time, if it's summertime, if it's sunset or just the afternoon, those things obviously change depending on if it's summer or winter. So even within the same operator you may get different prices than what we show, so always keep in mind when you look up some of these operators. So this next river cruise that we're gonna take is kind of a two-in-one and probably one of the most quirkiest ones, because it's not really a boat, but you're gonna see, because we ain't going just on the river itself, we will be also going on the streets. How is that? Let's show you.
River Ride is a bus-boat hybrid with a starting position close to the Chain Bridge. It first takes you along the streets of Budapest, touching a few important landmarks before heading into the Danube and making a turn in front of the Parliament before heading back to its starting point. All of this for 11,500 Hungarian forints. We didn't know what to expect from this ride, and we were kind of excited for the experience, but I will be really honest, this one was a real letdown. There is a built-in audio tour guide for each of the seats with several languages as an option, but the explanations are rushed and a bit too dense with information. Plus the explanations are not always in sync with the view that you get, and most importantly, the only real highlights you get to see in the city itself on the streets is Andrássy Avenue and Hero Square before heading into the Danube next to Margaret Island. I will say that entering the Danube with the bus is fun, but there's nothing else that I can say as a positive. The river cruise part only takes you until the Parliament building and then it heads back, and the meaningful part is just too short. The rest of the river cruise is fairly boring, unfortunately. The seats aren't very comfortable, and at my seat right next to the window, there was some terrible heat coming from the sides. As we headed back on the river, I just couldn't wait for this tour to end. This is the clear example when someone wants to sit on two chairs, but in the end they fall between them. It's not a good bus tour and neither a good river cruise. The gimmick of a bus-boat hybrid is just not worth it.
Now, as I have mentioned before, the two most popular times for a river cruise is around sunset and during the night. And of course, one of the most common questions that we get is, when is sunset? When is the nighttime? When should you book your cruise if you want to experience during these times? And the answer is, I absolutely don't know, because it will depend if it's winter or summer. But what you should do if you have a schedule in mind, if you have a date, then just simply put into Google, when is the sunset in Budapest on the X date? And Google will tell you precisely when the sun will set. So try to book a ticket somewhere around that time. When the sun sets, there's still gonna be about half an hour to an hour of light, and maybe an hour after that, usually there's gonna be already darkness. So use this information if you want to book tickets for these times. Now, throughout this video, you may have noticed that on all the cruises that we have taken so far, there were no crowds at all. And let me tell you, we were also really surprised about this, but I do have to note that maybe if you come here at a different time or a different season, maybe you will encounter some crowds. And we also saw some other boats that passed us where there were indeed a lot more people. We don't know why, we don't know what the gimmick could have been there, but nevertheless, we were kind of happy that our rides were so flawless and with less people. But let's see what else is on our list. So this next one is probably one of the most popular ones on social media. Not because of what the ship looks like or what you can see from the ship in any different way. No. The reason why this is popular is likely due to the fact that you get unlimited Prosecco. And we will see how that Prosecco is. And by the way, lately they also have unlimited beer and unlimited Aperol Spritz. So let's go and check this one out. Kinda. And enjoy Budapest with some alcohol. Yay!
The Unlimited Prosecco cruise has two departure points, one on Margaret Island and another just across the river on the Pest side. We took the Margaret Island one, which goes all the way south past the Petőfi Bridge before heading back to the starting point, and the ticket was just above 10,000 Hungarian forints. As you board the boat, you immediately get your first welcome drink. And with that, we got the answer to our most important question right away: how good is the Prosecco? And the answer to that is it's not outstanding, but definitely not bad. It went down really easily. The friendly staff regularly walks around the deck and fill your glasses, even if they are not completely empty. So even if I didn't intend to drink a lot, the fresh and cool Prosecco just kept flowing and I kept drinking. We took a cruise that started around 7 p.m. when the city started to be bathed in golden sunlight. So the views we had on this cruise were really gorgeous. And as there was a large open space for us on the deck without any roof, the views were lovely wherever we looked. But let's talk about a few downsides. As there is no roof, I'm sure the ride can become steaming hot during summer if you take an afternoon ride when the sun is at its full power. And while we only encountered one group who really came here to maximize their Prosecco intake and hence were naturally a bit louder than the average river cruise enjoyer, I just can't imagine what it would be like if there are multiple groups or even hen or stag parties that come on board to drink as much Prosecco as they can. For us, the trip was pleasant, but the possibility for more party animals is certainly there.
So in the end, did I have fun? Yes. Am I tipsy? Absolutely. Was this a perfect thing? No, but I guess Ákos already told you guys about what I think are the downsides and upsides to this trip. But in the end, combination of having fun and getting tipsy along the way is actually quite nice. Now let's see the final and last cruise that we're gonna go to. So the final river cruise that we're gonna take has to be a night cruise when all the wonderful buildings are illuminated. And today in this video, we wanted to show you guys all the different kinds of river cruises that you can take, except for one. And that is the one with a dinner and entertainment, because frankly speaking, that's way too expensive for us. It's more than 100 euros, and if I add up the ticket prices for all the different cruises that we've taken in this video, even then we would get the same price of that one ticket with the dinner and entertainment. And we are not that rich, we are not that famous as YouTubers, but if you do enjoy this video and you enjoy the things that we do on this channel, then you can support us just by giving a like or maybe a comment, or if I can get my lovely Marci friend here, you can also check out some of our merch. We appreciate all the support that we can get. And now let's go and check out the final cruise of this video.
The company behind Legenda Cruises is one of the most established ones on the river. They start close to Vigadó Square and take a similar route as the Kisfaludy boat by first heading south, then heading up north to the Parliament, before returning to their docks. And the tickets cost 10,000 Hungarian forints for the evening cruise. Our cruise left at 9:30 p.m. and the boat was the most modern of all that we have tried. The seats were very comfortable and each of them had a built-in audio tour guide with its own headset and a multitude of languages available. My good friend Marci listened in on the English tour guide and he concluded that it's alright and simple, not overly complicated, even with some fun facts here and there, but perhaps a bit too thin for real history enjoyers. During the trip they served one welcome drink and they even turned off the lights for the ride, so we got to enjoy the illuminated landmarks of Budapest to its fullest. And the views along the way were just spectacular. This city really shines during the night, when places like the Palace Building, the Liberty Bridge or any other old classical building along the way is lit up. Naturally, of course, the Parliament Building draws the most attention, and it's not a surprise, it is really the crown jewel of the Pearl of the Danube. One thing that I did find strange is that apparently the ship was completely sold out, but not all the seats were taken. There is an upper deck which was full of people, but everyone had their seats and nobody was standing. Not sure if they limit the number of people on purpose as a safety measure, or we just got lucky and a large group did not make the ride. But nevertheless, if people need to sit in the middle section, they may get to see less. But it's easy to just stand up and check out the sites that interest you. All in all, I can see why this is one of the most popular river cruises, where it's best to book your tickets ahead in time, perhaps a week in advance. It was a really comfortable and enjoyable ride, and the sights were just amazing.
So in the end, after going on all of these river cruises, I will be honest, I get the appeal. It is really fun. Maybe except for a river ride, the one which is a bus and a boat, just skip that. If you go on any of these river cruises, I'm sure you're gonna have a lovely time. And to be honest, I would still kind of advocate for just taking a walk along the Danube River. But if you don't have the time, if you want to save some time in your itinerary, taking a river cruise will be an excellent choice. And thank you so much for all the commenters who have been asking us to make a video like this. Without you, probably I would have never gone to any of these river cruises. Thank you so much and hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you want to see our future content and you're new here, then consider subscribing. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much and see all of you in our future videos. Bye!